This is the Elsa Show.
Oh, hey, hi. How are you, Clay?
Good. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. Yeah, I don't have anything interesting to share, I don't think. I mean, it's been a busy but also quiet week. Does that make any sense? Like it's
Sure.
been busy, like life busy but quiet. No dramatics, nothing crazy going on. Not in the personal life at least. I mean, in the world.
The
There's
world
always
tells us there's always crazy in the world. And folks, it is Wednesday. It is approximately 4 p.m. on the East Coast. I have a quick one that I'm going to ask you because you travel a lot like I do, but I don't know if you travel Southwest or not. So this is not even a topic, folks. This is just something I saw today, but I know Elsa and I both travel. So flying Southwest, which I do often, that is my airline preference. They have changed policies from the, first come, first serve, pick your seat, right, kind of thing to assigned seating, which has caused some consternation among the faithful of Southwest Airlines. But what it has also done, have you ever heard of the term Jetway Jesus?
No.
So it used to be, especially out of the hubs, like Midway Chicago is one, Love Field Dallas is their home field. So what you would get, because you have a high density of Southwest flights, is you would have people who didn't necessarily need wheelchairs, would have a family member wheel them. They would be on the airline wheelchairs.
Yes.
And then they would have the family escort. And so they would be first to board on Southwest. So they would get their choice of seats. So you would have, and I'm not kidding when I say this, anywhere from 5 to 10 people in these wheelchairs with a family escort that would get, they would be the first to board, with the families with the little kids and blah, 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 blah. And so they would get on, they would get their seats near the front of the plane with their family escort. But then when the plane landed, it's a miracle, they would all get up and walk off the plane, right?
Praise Jesus.
That's why they called it Jetway Jesus, because amazingly they would be healed. They would no longer need the wheelchair and they would get up and walk off the plane. So it was all about getting priority seating.
Yes.
Well, now that Southwest no longer does first come, first serve seating, you go to the airport, and I had to do some traveling a couple of weeks ago for a family memorial service. There's like one, maybe two. And there are people who really need it, right? And they have assigned seating, and there are people who really need it. So this isn't just Clay seeing this, folks. Like there have been news articles written about this already, the disappearance of Jetway Jesus in the policy change from Southwest. So
first of all, that's horribly hilarious.
It is. It's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So that does explain a lot to me, because I don't always travel. I bounce around like between, typically it's JetBlue for me that I travel on. And then my second choice is usually Southwest and sometimes Delta. I don't have that great a loyalty, but mainly it's JetBlue. However, I have many times flown Southwest, and I have to be honest, that whole, pick your own seat thing always gave me tremendous stress and anxiety, because I'm very particular about my seating, and I think everybody kind of is. Like certain people are like, it always has to be an aisle seat or it always has to be a window seat. I don't know anybody who always says that it always has to be a middle seat. I don't know any middle seat people.
No.
But for me, if I'm flying by myself, I have to be up near the front and an aisle seat. So I get like all internally flustered. You'd never know it looking at me. I have a very calm demeanor, but internal stress. So when they did this, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I kind of like that, even though it meant, more fees, of course. I did always notice so many wheelchairs. And I remember only now that you're saying it being like, what the heck? So many people in wheelchairs these days. What is going on? Yep. Not putting these things together. Very funny and so messed up. I never heard the name though.
Yeah, I'm an exit row guy. Like just because there's too many crazy people on airplanes nowadays, and I am who I am. So if I'm not controlling that door, I get a little crazy.
Yeah.
So I am that guy, and I would always pay for the early upgrades to get in that A list, to be the first one, you know, and I would always get an exit row. But yes, you would always notice Jetway Jesus. There was all these people, and then of course there was never the wheelchairs on the way out. So yeah, folks, if you're a Southwest flyer, even if you're not a frequent Southwest flyer, take a look next time and notice how many fewer wheelchairs you see getting onto Southwest, because they have changed the seating policy. Yeah, I figured you're a traveler, and I didn't know if you'd noticed that or not.
I never put the things together like that. I never realized that. Did not know that. Oh my God, why are people so awful? People just are the worst.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Actually, I think I am flying in July. I think one of my July trips is on Southwest. So I'm going to be paying attention. I'm going to be watching for it.
There you go.
Shame on you people. Shame. Shame.
But we've got a lot more going on than just Jetway Jesus, folks. And let's see, we're already 5 minutes in, so we got.
Oh my goodness! All right, guys, here's what we have coming up for you
tonight on the show. Iran says one thing, Washington says another. Amsterdam is banning meat ads because apparently brisket is now a public threat. A luxury cruise turns into a floating horror movie. California may have accidentally rigged itself against itself. Seattle keeps trying socialism like it's a gym membership they swear will work this time. Pete Buttigieg is auditioning for Middle America. Meanwhile, we're asking the question every Republican is quietly thinking. J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio next? We'll wrap up with a game of Who Dat, and let's not forget the comments section. Let's get started.
Buttigieg? Is that what it said? Buttigieg?
Even AI can't pronounce his name.
I don't know if I ever have said his name.
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
No idea.
Who is it that called him Booty Juice? Was that President Trump?
A lot of people called him Booty Juice.
It's so gross.
Yeah. Oh.
So disgusting. Oh my goodness. Well, then, I mean, we have to, of course, start here, right? I mean, this is, of course, the never-ending story, right? I don't mean that in the great 80s film sense.
Traumatizing it though it was. So Operation Epic Fury, as it was known, as it began, has now been declared as over, I think, and been replaced with, what is it? Project Freedom. Yes. Yep. Now, you can speculate on a lot of things on why that happened, specifically because of the War Powers Act. You know, they've been Congress, left side of the aisle. Congress has been after President Trump and Secretary Hegseth about, when is this going to end? You've declared war without Congress's approval, which under the War Powers Act, the president's got 60 days, take military action without any explanation to Congress. Well, we just hit 60 days. And so without having to go back and ask for an extension or a declaration of war, which, by the way, we haven't done since World War II, they essentially ended the operation and then had it renamed a follow-up operation, which is, again, Project Freedom, which is the defense of the Strait of Hormuz. So, I guess it does beg the question, and that is, were the objectives of Epic Fury actually met, and that's why it was declared over? Or is it because it hit the 60-day mark and the president and the secretary didn't want to deal with Congress? And I because truthfully, the goals, the objectives of the operation were never clearly outlined. You and I have talked about this for 2 months now, right? Yeah. Is it regime change? Is it the Strait? Is it, what are we doing? And there was never a clear idea. So I guess when you don't have clear objectives, you can declare victory anytime you want.
I was literally going to say the same thing. Like, in a way, it was like technically kind of a brilliant strategy to not really give a clear definition, because you're like, objective met. Yeah, no, we're good. Like, trust me, we did it.
It's President Bush, mission accomplished, landing on the aircraft carrier. It's the same thing.
Right.
And listen, folks, I don't point these out as a criticism. It's questions all of us Americans at $25 billion being spent already. These are the questions we all should be asking, whether you're a fan of President Trump and Secretary Hegseth or not. We collectively need to have clear outlined objectives in what we're doing when we're committing America's sons and daughters in harm's way. So, now we've transitioned to Project Freedom, but have we? There was the ceasefire. The ceasefire was clearly violated by Iran.
Right.
UAE is pissed. And obviously there was, I think, some attacks on American installations or American ships in the last 24 hours. It's hard to keep track of it all, folks, to be honest with you. And I did this for a living for a long time. Yeah. But the question is, what's next? Like today, there were reports of us firing on an Iranian flag tanker that was trying to bust through the blockade. I don't know the results of that because it was reporting in the last 3 hours. So, so again, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Does anybody know? Really? Does anybody know?
Nope. I don't think anybody does, but I do hope that I do certainly hope the Trump administration knows what they're doing and what's going on. And you've got not only arguments from the left, you have the internal, so to speak, arguments within the party, which, obviously you've got, they call them the war hawks, right? They're arguing that the force was necessary, and the ones with more restraint, the conservatives argue that the risks are, outweighing the benefits, and so feeling like it's not such a great idea. Then, of course, you have the Democrats who are, no matter what happens, let's be real, no matter what the outcome was, they would not have any kind of praise or agreement with anything. So it's almost like, to me, it's almost like even a non-point to bring them in the conversation in this context, because it literally doesn't matter what went on. They will find problem and fault with it. So I'm kind of personally more interested in what the different mindsets are within the conservative, Republican Party.
Yeah, I think, and again, folks, I'm not opposed to what we've done, because I've been accused of that. My issue, my concern is that, one, we have not clearly outlined the objectives of what we're doing. Yeah. And two, we have not, to me, clearly committed to anything. Like, we have naval power there. I know that there was, the 80 portions of the 82nd Airborne were alerted, Marines were pushed forward, right? There's all this. There's been discussions for 2 months about a ground invasion, whether it's, on the island or, inside mainland Iran or whatever. And I'll tell you, folks, inside the big old defense umbrella, it's not terribly clear there either. Yeah. As much as we, people would like to say, well, you don't know because you're not there. You're right. I'm not there, but I know a lot of people who are, and I know there's a lot of confusion still, or a lack of direction and focus. So, the questions that we all have been asking are the ones that we need to continue to ask. As this grows and as the calendar continues to flip days and it gets longer and longer and longer, the global impact of this continues to grow, right? Because Iran is not just Iran and the oil that they provide, but anything that moves through the Strait of Hormuz. And so now what you're doing is you're affecting China more, right? You're affecting Russia more, right? And the longer that the Iranian oil is withheld and not moved through the strait and gotten to China and gotten to Russia, et cetera, and exports, Iranian drones and all these other things, the more you're putting a strain on those much larger nations who may, come to a point of, desperation, I hate to say, and they stick their nose in this, which I know is not anything that we're looking forward to, wanting, or anticipating. This is supposed to be just us and Iran, or just, I should say, us, Israel and Iran. Right. And then obviously, unfortunately, the Arab nations, all the nations surrounding Iran that are just catching random stray rockets and missiles, all over the place. So I think there's too much uncertainty in this right now. And I'm not comfortable with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my question I think always is with this is how do you walk away from it? Like
Right.
you can't just go, you can't just like quietly drift away. We can't just quietly drift away from it because it's not working. There's still a pretty significant issue, multiple issues with obviously nuclear capabilities. Still significant issues with them. Oh, I don't know, wanting death to America. There are ongoing significant issues here, which frankly, and maybe to some people's horror at my saying this, the only way that, and I do feel bad saying this, but this is very realistic, I think, to say the only way to stop these people is to decimate them completely, to wipe them off the face of the earth, because we're talking again at many times over, we're talking about a group that only knows violence. First of all, that is their mission and their goal and their existence is violence and death and hatred, and oppression and conquering everyone and everything. What do you even do with that? And how do you sell that to the rest of the world, that like there's no peace through peace. There's peace through strength, period. So, again, I mean, there's so many layers to that. One we've talked about many times also, you having experienced multiple times over the experience of war and, rightly saying it's nothing that we wish on anyone, but particularly our own troops. We don't want boots on the ground. We don't want them there. We don't want any of this. Talk about being between a rock and a hard place is the only way I can see it right now.
Yeah. And again, I'm not afraid of the application of military force at all. I mean, I did that for a living for a very long time. It is necessary in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
It is about making sure that we, the United States, and whoever is on our side, whether it's Israel in this case or a NATO force or whoever's pitching in, mm-hmm. that we are all aligned and unified in what we are trying to accomplish. And those goals are clearly stated and achievable. Right.
Yeah.
And so, one of the communication issues with this is we all know this about President Trump, and we all Americans know and understand him as a New Yorker and who he is when he talks and he says things like, the best ever, nobody's ever seen this before, we'll blow them off the map, we'll decimate them, it'll be an attack nobody's ever seen. All of those, he speaks in these extremes.
Right.
When you speak that way as a threat against a nation, which he has done against Iran, you have to, like, the rest of the world doesn't take that as, oh, he's speaking like a New Yorker. Right. They're not. They're taking him at his literal word. And when you make those statements, but you either aren't prepared to back them up or you don't back them up with action, then you become the boy who cried wolf in the eyes of the world. And, again, it's an Americanism that doesn't translate well across the rest of the globe. When you tell the Iranians, hey, if you don't do this, I'm going to level, your country. And then you say, I mean it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean it. That's like with your kids, when you count to 3 and then nothing happens at 3,
right?
Your kids are like, oh.
And it's not like, oh, well, we're going to continue to do what we're doing. Like if they don't see, feel, smell like an increase in, American firepower and everything else that we can bring to bear, if that is not readily felt, then it means nothing to them. And so, this is one of those times where, as much as we love to cheer President Trump and he brings America, 52% of America, to a fervor on some of this stuff, it doesn't translate well outside of the borders of the United States. So I personally wish that would be something he would be a little bit cleaner with, or he would, and Secretary Hegseth is not better. He's not better at it than the president is. He may even be worse.
Mhm.
This is where, and we'll talk about this a little later, Secretary Rubio is the best communicator of these kinds of things. And I wish the president would use him more, although this is not truthfully in his realm. I guess you could force it into his realm, but
I mean, he's Marco Rubio. He can handle all of the
he can
jobs.
do it. Well, I mean,
I mean, he can do everything.
yeah, the guy has literally become a meme with all of the jobs.
It's literally, there is guys, you have to go to this page. I believe it's called Marco Rubio Headquarters. I think it is. There's probably multiple ones, but that's the one that I actually follow. I follow it on Instagram. I'm sure they're on all the other platforms too. And it's just, among other things, they do all of the things, the most famous one where he's sitting in the Oval Office, that one. And they put him in every different, uniform or costume or outfit or whatever. And they're just hilarious. Somebody had commented it in my own thing last week on something. It might have been one of our podcast clips. And he said, yeah, but can he be a steel worker? And I actually made one of him as a steel worker in that thing. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I can. There he is. He's ready. He's ready for the job.
When the Boston Red Sox fired their manager and half of their coaching staff a week ago, the very next day, there it was. Rubio sitting in the Oval Office. Marco Rubio just found out he's got to manage the Boston Red Sox. Like,
so funny.
Back to the topic. Like,
love it. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
That's the thing I wish President Trump would ask him to do more of, is communicate, with Iran on behalf of the United States. However, that's not President Trump's style.
Right.
And it would be infringing or encroaching upon the responsibility of Secretary Hegseth. So it's a little bit of that gray area. But, really right now, I think we continue to stand in the same box, which is we collectively, the United States, the Republic, the citizenry, are not terribly clear on what our goals and objectives are in Iran. And it leaves way too many questions unanswered.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel it's a matter of, and maybe it's just too hard to even say, but do you feel that it's a matter of the Trump administration has backed themselves into a corner? Or do you feel like this is still a potentially Trump playing 4D chess?
Yeah. I think there is a lot of the 4D chess. Truthfully, I really do. Controlling oil flow across the globe is definitely part of it. No question. I think, the denial of nuclear capability. We talked about this last week, or 2 weeks ago. Like, I am now a absolute believer supporter in they shouldn't even have nuclear energy because they will screw it up to the point where it condemns the globe itself. That the problem is when we in modern warfare has changed. Warfare has changed in the modern age where you don't go in, kick somebody's ass, and take all their stuff, right? And then rule over their land after the fighting's over with. Now you go in, you kick somebody's ass, you break all their stuff, and then you've got to rebuild it and then hand it back to them and reestablish, law and order and governance, and then walk away from it.
Right.
And so, we are creating a power vacuum that I think that the administration and the planning had it set in their mind that the Iranian people would rise up and they would fight, they would overthrow, and it would be, all of those things. And none of that has come to fruition.
Yeah.
So,
and it did look like that very early on because there were the massive marches in the streets and the fanfare and all of the things going on. And I don't,
Well, the Iranians started killing citizens.
I was just going to say, then they started beheading people and,
killing people in the streets by the hundreds.
Yeah.
And of course, at that point, when you don't have any way, because they're a firearm free society, folks.
Yeah.
They've got no way to stand up against the government. And so they, for their own safety and, whatever, they back down. And we've offered them no real help thus far. So,
right.
I think the last pin in all of this is the regime change, because right now we can't back away from this and leave the people in power.
Right.
I know they're trying to negotiate a treaty, and I know that goes on every day. And I know that Iranians are coming back with crazy counterpoints and things that are not acceptable to us.
Mm-hmm.
But that leadership, whatever you want to call it, we can't leave that the way that it is. So, because otherwise what you've got is Afghanistan, the Taliban are back in power again. Like it's the same thing. So I think that's the thing that can't be solved. And I've been saying this, folks. I've been saying this for weeks. Successful regime change requires boots on the ground. You can't not. It doesn't work. So, and I know that there's reluctance to do that. I know President Trump doesn't necessarily want to do it. I actually have a feeling Secretary Hegseth does want to do it. But I think there is reluctance across the board to commit troops to a ground operation inside of Afghanistan. But you can't do regime change without it. So we just have to really get our act together. We need to put things down on paper, make them public, and say these are the goals and this is what we're going after, and then just do those things.
Just do them. Just do it. Yeah. Well, one thing about the whole thing that I can guarantee is that we will be talking about it next week as well.
Yes, we will.
I believe that we will. All right. So on that note, let's go on to I'm a little bit speechless. Oh my goodness. So this is pretty horrific. I can't tell you how many people I have heard say in this, and that's why I don't go on cruises. I'll never go on a cruise. I never will. I've been on a couple, I think. And I have thought about that. Like, my goodness, all different aspects of it. And there's been, plenty of horror stories about cruises. Sure. Now, when you compare it to the number of cruises that actually go on, that number, starts to look smaller and smaller, of course. But there's been enough of them, just the videos alone, never mind, crazy viral outbreaks and things like that, and the food poisoning and all of those things. Those storms, when those storms hit out of like nowhere and you see these waves and the ships are like, just that alone is almost enough for me to go, I think I'm good. I think I'm going to pass on a cruise. I also know people that don't care and they swear by their cruises and they love them. They live and breathe for them. So if you don't know, which I'm sure you do, I'm going to tell you anyway, a polar expedition cruise ship, the MV Hondius. Did I say that right? I think I did.
Right. That's how I would pronounce it. Yes.
Perfect. We're going with it then. It's become a floating nightmare after a suspected hantavirus outbreak left 3 people dead and several others sick. WHO says that the public risk is low, but the strain involved may be Andes virus, which is especially concerning because it can rarely spread person to person. This is one of those stories that reminds us that who cares about that? I'm not even going to bother reading that part. So I'm like, whatever. So here's the thing, right? This hantavirus is spread from mice and rats.
Feces.
Yes.
Yep.
So, let's just take that pause and think about that mice and rats are on a cruise ship, this enclosed capsule, this, space where air is being circulated through all the same rooms. The same air is being circulated all over the place. The same place where meals for how many people go on a cruise? Like, literally, physically,
thousands.
So like on one cruise ship, on one cruise, there is likely thousands of people on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Just the very thought. So you have a huge number of people breathing the same air, eating food that was made in a facility where now for certain that there are rats and mice and this whole thing. I think I just decided I'm done with cruises. Like, the more I think about it, the more I realize I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Yeah. I have never taken one, but so this one, there's some of them that the content of them, like the purpose of the cruise itself, there's some attractiveness to this. So this left Argentina, drop down into the Antarctic, right? You got it down into the cold weather, and then sail diagonally across the Atlantic to Cape Verde and was headed towards Africa. And somewhere in the midst of all of this, one man fell sick, another fell sick. I think the first man died, and then, like you said, 3, and then 6 very ill. And it's been determined that, it's hantavirus, and or at least that's the suspicion. So I'll add one more to it. Those 3 dead bodies still on the boat. Yeah. So you've got all of those because no one was allowed to leave the boat because now you've got the potential, because you haven't truthfully determined what the cause is. You can't let anybody off the boat because they may bring it with them and infect all kinds of people.
Right. Yeah. And ports are refusing them.
Oh yeah.
Ports,
100%.
They're being refused. So they're just drifting around on the ocean all. Yeah.
And so you've got only so much, they can get resupplied and those but there's only so much food. There's only so much booze. There's only so, right. And this was supposed to be a long-term cruise, right? Think about that. But and thousands of dollars spent by the people on the cruise.
Yeah.
Right? And now they can't get off of it. Although today, I think they were being allowed for the first time to step off. I can't remember where.
We're a deserted island.
Someplace where there is no other human beings.
Right.
And in isolation. But yes, I'm with you. I've never been on a cruise. I think, there are some that are intriguing. Those river cruises in Europe, I think, look interesting. I would probably take one in and around Alaska. I have zero desire to go Caribbean at all. Anything that is a Disney cruise is definitely off limits. So yeah, this is just more reason never to go on a cruise. And
I gotta admit, I don't think I want to do it again. And I know somebody who just came back from a cruise, and I know somebody who's on a cruise right now, not that cruise. And funny enough, the person that just came back from a cruise has a respiratory ailment. So just saying, and I don't think I know anybody who's come off a cruise that wasn't sick after.
Yeah, I mean,
you
said it right. You're all living on top of each other. You're all breathing, a lot of recirculated air below decks. You're all this is the same thing. Anybody who's been in the military knows that once there's a cold that goes through the barracks in the wintertime, or everybody gets sick. Everybody,
yeah.
It's like COVID every time you get on a boat. But these things, I know a guy who one of his favorite things to do is he jumps on the repositioning cruises. So when they've got a boat that is like it'd be a quick one. So they've got a boat that, they're moving from the Dominican Republic to Miami, right?
Yeah.
And they're not turning it into a 7-day. It's literally a straight shot. It's a 2-day kind of a thing. Well, you go down to the DR, you fly down there, you get on the boat, you're on the boat for 2 days, you do it, it's a couple $100, and you get 2 days on a cruise ship or 3 days on a cruise ship, and you pull into Miami and you get off and you go back to work. I know a guy who does that often.
Yeah.
Those are also not max capacity 7 stops, kind of cruises. You've got a couple of 100 people on there who choose to do that.
Now that I will do.
Right? That to me sounds a little more enjoyable.
That I will do. Yes.
Because
I'm okay with that.
In the end, even if it sucks, it's over in 3 days. So
exactly. I think going forward, I think I'm pretty much going to be a destination gal. Let's just hop on a plane, get to the place. Like we're going to Aruba in November. And it's like, get on the plane, go there, enjoy that experience, go home, and that's it. No being trapped for any longer than an airline flight. I could tell you a story since, we don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to tell you the story this time, but y'all remind me to tell you the story about this Aruba trip because y'all will be like, what? And I'm going to leave you hanging with that.
I will keep that one in mind.
Keep that one in mind because it's pretty funny. Maybe I'll save it for then to tell you all about. So the whole thing's crazy. And guys, listen. So here's the thing. I know we're kind of joking around a little bit and we're kind of making light. But I do like this will break your heart a little. Let me just take us all down a notch from having some amusements here about this. Here is a passenger on this cruise ship, essentially right now, or maybe they're off now. I don't know. But here's this. Very sad.
Like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down. I am currently on board the MV Hondias, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. There's a lot of uncertainty, and that's the hardest part. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, just remember that there are real people behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away. It's happening to us right now. I'll share more when I can, but for now, I just ask for your kindness and understanding. Thank you.
So let me tell you, first of all, if that guy was making that up and he's not really on that ship and it was like some elaborate, well, not very elaborate thing, the only thing I would have to say to that is you jerk, you. So, you know, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that this was real. I have not heard otherwise, that was not real.
I saw that yesterday, I think, and or maybe the night before. And yes, I do believe that is real. I would have a totally different set of emotions. It would not be the weepy, trembly voice.
No,
that would be threatening life, limb, and eyesight to anybody and everybody involved on that ship. Anger would take hold. It would not be good. So, but the emotion is true, right? I mean, there's clearly these people are not happy. It's not a comfortable place to be, and I do not envy them.
No,
any of it.
No, terrible experience. 0 stars. Do not recommend.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm joking about it again, and it's terrible. It's gallows humor, guys. Let me be. Let's see. Let's move on to other things that like you either laugh about it or, you know, or I don't even know.
I'm going to start this out by saying Europe is gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Like it is. So Amsterdam has banned fuel and food advertising, specifically meat advertising, in public spaces in the city, because they are attempting to push the green agenda, plant-based meats and non-fossil fuels across the city. And so they think by banning the advertisement of those two things in public spaces, and think about the public spaces, folks. This is bus stops, park benches, billboards, you know, signposts, all of those things, all banned. And you cannot, fossil fuels, and more specifically airlines, like none of the airlines can advertise, but use of fossil fuels and use of any live meat products, fish, poultry, beef, pork, all of it banned. Can't do it in the city because they're pushing the green agenda. And I started by saying it, and I will say it again. Europe is gone. It's done.
I'm so close to being speechless because it is so insane to me that this is a real conversation, a real event, a real occurrence, a real thing that is going on in the world right now. And, you know, here's a funny side note. Several years ago when the whole, plant-based meat stuff was gaining some popularity, because I love vegetables. Like I love meat too. I'm an omnivore. Okay. So there's none of that nonsense here. But I was like, oh, you know what? Let me give that a try and see if I like that. And I don't know. I mean, it was what it was. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It was fine. But the second that I saw the government, particularly like Biden, during the Biden administration, that they started pushing it, that like this started becoming a thing, I immediately went, and I'm done. And that was it. If you're pushing it, if y'all are pushing it, I'm good. But thank you. Let me go get a ribeye. I'm good.
Yeah, I always first of all, it never tastes the same. It just doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Never had a plant-based anything that tastes like real meat.
Right.
They had the pink sludge, the pink paste, whatever that stuff was.
Yeah.
But I actually go back to it was a movie. It wasn't even a great movie, but it was a worse TV show. Did you ever see the movie Snowpiercer?
No.
So this is about a train, which ends up being two trains that are the entire Earth is frozen over, nuclear winter. There's just these trains that they're on a circular track, and they just drive around in circles. But it's become a caste class system on the train. Front of the train is the rich people, blah, 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 blah. And the back of the train is the poorest of the poor. And so with limited resources on a train that doesn't stop, the poor people are fed these blocks of brown, like gelatinized. Well, what they find out is that it's ground up and gelatinized bugs, roaches.
Oh, I mean, they're getting their protein.
Right. And it's exactly the kind of mind, like, oh no, this is good for you. This is all healthy. And listen, folks, I'm not comparing plant-based meat substitutes with bricks of cockroach. However, there are some similarities there that you cannot deny. And yes, I'm like you. If it what's her name? Billie Eilish. Did you see this absurdity?
Oh, that's silly girl. That's silly little girl.
Animals and love eating meat at the same time. Sure, you can.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yes, I can.
And too.
Yes, I can. I think cows are one of the cutest thing I love. I'm obsessed with cows. I think they're so cute. I want to hug them and squeeze them, and they taste delicious.
Yes, they do.
I'm sorry, they do. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not at all sorry. Both things can and are true. Can be and are true. They are adorable to look at. I plan to one day own one, preferably like a Highland cow or something. That would be lovely. Just, putting that out into the universe. But yes, I will continue to eat beef. I love steaks. All of the things. I love them. I find them to be delicious and nutritious.
And back to the original, Europe is gone point. UAE is actually the second country to do it. I think the first was Saudi Arabia, but UAE is now denying visas to of their own citizens. They are denying travel of their own citizens to certain European nations because they are afraid that they will go there, they will interact with other transplanted Muslims and become radicalized and then come home.
Wow.
So the Muslims in the Middle East have recognized the downfall and the impact of the refugee Muslim populations that have infected and overtaken Europe, and the fact that they're being radicalized. So like if you're a president, a citizen of the United Arab Emirates and you want to go, I think England's on the list. If you want to go to England, or I know France is on the list, and they say, nope, can't go there. Or if you go there, you're on a watch list when you come back, basically, because they are so afraid that you're going to go over there. You're going to go to a mosque. You're going to practice your religion overseas while you're on vacation, and you're going to interact with people and become radicalized and bring that crap back to their own country. So
wild.
Europe's gone, folks. It is. And if you really have any doubts, look at the level of violent crime in France. That's all you need to do.
Sad.
And how much of it is done by immigrant population. So, it's bad, and it's getting worse.
Yeah. A little bit of irony, though. Isn't like Amsterdam? I mean, there's some questionable stuff that goes on there, right? Isn't that is that the one with the red light district? Like you're going to allow some, right? Like you're going to allow some freaky deaky stuff.
Yep. Sex work is completely normalized. It has been for decades. But you can't have a burger.
Don't have a burger.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Perfect sense. Oh my goodness. So that's what's going on. If you had to pick a state, Clay, if you had to pick a state that would be right on board with doing something like that, what state would you pick?
Well, it's one of two. Actually, it's one of three. But
Yeah.
right now, it's Washington. It's Washington
Yeah.
State. It's
Yeah.
Seattle leading the charge.
Yep.
Yep.
I feel you. If I could find where my little pop-up was, I'd put it up there, but I don't even see it. So, here it is. I got it, guys. Don't even worry. There it is. Socialism killing Seattle. I mean, hasn't it already? It's like pretty much killed it already. I don't know why. It shouldn't be ing. It should be ed at the end of.
Yeah. So what you're seeing, Katie Wilson is the mayor, for those that don't know, and she's a white female version of Mamdani. Very much the same mindset, tax the rich, all of, everything is free. It's all provided by the government, but we're going to tax the rich to do it. And so now what you've got is, what is the number, when you think of Seattle, what is the number one anchor business you think of when you think of Seattle?
I was actually going to say pot, but that's probably Colorado, right?
No, corporation.
Corporate. Oh, is it Starbucks? No, are they Starbucks? Yeah, it is Starbucks. Yeah.
And you know where they're moving to? Nashville. They're leaving Seattle and they're moving to Nashville.
There you go.
The president of Starbucks is leaving and moving to Florida. Has said out loud that the company cannot afford to stay in Seattle, cannot afford to stay there. And he personally is not staying there because he knows that the entire goal of that mayoral administration is to tax the rich. And he's like, I don't have to do this. And that's the fallacy of what both her and Mamdani and people of their ilk believe, is that if you're rich, that they're going to tax you and you're just going to stay, and as if you have no choice, as if there's, you have no other options, and that you're just going to, we're just going to stay here. We're going to tax the rich and they're going to stay and they're just going to pay their taxes. No, they're not. And they don't understand the impact of what they're doing. And Seattle's dying very, very quickly because of this mayor, very much like New York is going through the same things with Mamdani.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just becomes this, or it has become this thing of, that we actually just have to sadly sit back and, wait for time is it? Oh, it's, I told you so time. That's what time, like check your watch. What time is it? It's, I told you so time. Yeah. I mean, thank you. I like that too, actually. See, once in a while I come up with them, Clay. Once in a while. And that's going to be it for the rest of the show. It's going to be all I have. That's okay, though. But yeah, it's just give me a break already. Give this country a break already, and just go the heck away and just shut up. Get your own island where you can all, but they don't want that, because if they have their own island, these little tyrants, wannabe dictators is really what they are. Because they don't, this is what the rest of them don't understand. These people will be fine. These, leadership top rung, they're going to be fine. They're going to be living large, and you're going to be all the same. And all the same means you're all going to be dirt poor with nothing, holding out your hands for scraps from the government. Please, sir, may I have some more?
Get in line for bread now.
Yeah, just get in line
now. Yeah.
Seattle has been a disaster, for has it been a decade already? I mean, when did
it's been a slow decline? But yes, it's been, that has been one of the hubs, whether it's San Francisco, it's, or the Bay Area in general, but San Francisco has been obviously part of that. Seattle, New York, there's a couple of key places across the United States. And now it's, you've got this mindset of we deserve, it should be here. And anybody who doesn't support this just happened in Chicago just yesterday or the day before. There's people speaking out because I think it was a Walgreens or a CVS closed, as has happened in many neighborhoods in urban areas, because they keep getting robbed. And so their inventory gets stolen. It's a non-profitable location, and the big corporation looks at it and says, well, we're not keeping this open, and they closed it. And now you've got people speaking out saying, well, like I think it's CVS, CVS should be fined. They shouldn't be allowed to close. Like, we deserve to have this here.
Can you imagine?
And then it's this, if they people steal because they have to get bread to feed their kids. And if that store isn't there to steal from, then how are these people going to feed their kids? And the reality is it's not people stealing bread that's putting them out of business.
No.
It's the kids going in there and stealing candy and chips. It's the teenagers going in there and stealing condoms. It's the people going in there and stealing, baby formula and pregnancy tests and selling them in low income neighborhoods on the black market, which is what they're doing. Right.
Of course.
This isn't theft for survival. In fact, I wish that those companies, CVS and Walgreens, when they close these stores, if they just went through and did an inventory and they published for the last 12 months, these are all the things that have been stolen.
Would have been brilliant.
That would have been the greatest campaign ever, to just say,
yes,
this is why we're closing. We're closing because you keep stealing all the beer. We're closing. You know what I mean? This isn't about survival. But again, it's this mentality of, everything should be provided. That's the same as the socialism and communism from Mamdani, as it is Katie Wilson in Seattle. Now it's bleeding into the other major metro areas, Chicago's being one of them, with our idiot Mayor Johnson and the folks that he continues to promote. So that's where we're at, folks. And you're right, Elsa, is we are going to have to sit and watch these cities crumble and make sure that, like, the guy from Starbucks doesn't move to Florida and go, let's turn it blue, baby.
Do not Seattle or Florida. Do not do it.
Yes, perfect.
Don't you do it. Yeah. I'm gonna be there soon, and I will not New England, Florida either.
Because then you get the backlash, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In California.
Yes. Oh, California. Oh my goodness. So obviously the 2026 primary is heating up, and the big story is the state's top 2 primary system. Democrats are nervous because a crowded field could split the vote. We talked about this. Was that just last week? We did, talking about
now this. We've got a little bit more. Because June 2nd is their primary. So we're getting closer. And now we're getting a little bit more, exposure, I guess, is probably the best word. Yeah. Right. We had debates the other night.
Yep. Oh my goodness. This has been interesting to watch, but I really I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I just want to show this video so bad. I've been so excited to show this video the whole episode so far. This is Spencer Pratt, who is running for mayor. He's challenging Karen Bass. Thank you. Yeah. And all of them, his ads have been straight fire, like fire. And this might be, in my opinion, the one that takes the cake. So here it is.
Please, I'm begging you. There's homeless drug addicts in front of the schools. My children aren't safe.
Look, if you were a transgender migrant, I could get you a free pussy.
Let's move the drug addicts closer.
Bass already solved crime. I endorse her.
Next!
Please, I just want to rebuild my home. It's been over a year.
Mom, look.
This is a machine. If we want to burn this town to the ground,
pull through that! I feel so close.
You can do it, Spencer!
Now.
I mean, just that for that alone, he should just win.
You're right, and it's funny because he lost his house. And for those of you that don't know who Spencer Pratt is, he's like a D-list reality guy. Whoever his wife is or was,
Heidi Montag, yeah.
She's one of those who got like 17 plastic surgeries in a 3-month time span or something. They blew their entire reality show wad. Like they have no money. They were living in the Palisades. Their house got burnt down.
Yeah.
And he's frustrated.
Very.
Now, the accusation,
and they put him on the warpath. Yeah.
Right. And the accusations are like, oh, well, he's not qualified because he couldn't even manage his own money. There's not been a Democrat who could manage a budget in 60 years. So like, that's the biggest fallacy in the whole thing. But he is a citizen of, he's a resident of Los Angeles. He's tired of everything that happened with the Palisades fire, not being able to rebuild his house, the backlog on the administration, the permits, and everything else. He moved that picture like in the AI where he's standing in front of like an Airstream trailer.
Yes, he
did that. Like they brought a trailer and they put it back on his property. He might even be there illegally as far as the what's going on in the aftermath of the fire. But he's running for mayor. And that's what you're getting in California is the backlash. You are finally getting the people that are so pissed off at everything that's been happening that they are acting. They're getting involved in local governance. And we've seen this out of Los Angeles and out of California, Sonny Bono, Clint Eastwood, Ronald Reagan, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like we've had enough
great examples. Right.
That they have all popped in out of Hollywood and said, we can't do this anymore. And I wish him good luck. I hope he does get elected.
Listen,
he can't be any less competent than she is.
Yeah. Listen, Spencer Pratt may just be the hero that they didn't know that they needed. Yeah. So California, this might be your guy. And, I'm with you on the kudos to him for, I've been following his journey, I guess, with all of this for fairly early on over on the TikTok. And I've been watching his videos for a while now. And I saw early on when he first started posting about all of this, it wasn't talk of running for mayor yet, but it was about all of the double talk and the BS and everything since the fires. This is when I've been watching him since. And he's been calling them out, and I've watched him escalating in the best possible way on this and digging deeper. And and I think this is entirely genuine. Like the more he investigated, the more he dug into this, the more people in California, in this entire region, started sending him videos and documents and all of these things that were really backing up what he was saying and just rounding out the picture for him of just how bad it was and just how deep the lies and corruption and deceit really were and are. And it just fueled him. And of course, now here we are. It's led him to say, you know what? I'm going for it. Yeah. So it started really with him just calling him out and just trying to get some resolution for his family and his relatives and friends and shine some light on it. And of course, the deeper it went, the more invested he became in realizing that it was so much bigger. So Spencer Pratt, reality TV series alumni, potentially turned next mayor. That could be a thing. We'll see.
Love it.
Yeah, I do too. Let's see. How are we on time? Let's see. What can we do? Oh, can we do this one?
Oh,
can we do
100%.
Yeah, good. Because I love talking about Marco Rubio. So
every year, right, with sports, and NFL is notorious for this, right? As soon as the Super Bowl's over with, there is a way too early prediction for next year's Super Bowl. They do it in all the sports, but like
Always.
the NFL is notorious for way too early predictions. And so
Sure.
we are, 2.5 years out from the next election cycle, the next inauguration, basically. And really about a year and a half out from the election, the campaigning to start.
Right.
And, we were all, when President Trump got elected, and even before he got elected, he selected JD Vance to be his vice president. We all looked at it, you and I included, and we laid out the line of succession. And it was President Trump, 8 years of Vance, and then very quickly it became after Vance, 8 years of Rubio, right? That was kind of the foregone conclusion. So everybody was looking at 20 years of red. And but is that still what's going to happen?
My goodness. Just Rubio, he's just everything he touches turns to gold. I mean, and he is such a incredibly well-spoken, poised, articulate, intelligent, level, calm, factual, direct. Like, he's just amazing to watch, and he is great. I think I've watched him for a long time. It's the Cuban connection. What do you want from me? And I've liked him for a very long time. I really, I said in the earlier days of, the Trump, the election cycle, I was like, well, my heart choice would have been Rubio, but I knew that it would be Trump, like that it was not going to be. So, and I knew that completely fine with that. But because of how I already saw how he presented, I felt like he would make a phenomenal president, historically legendary president was my feeling, still my feeling. So yes, and this is not to say anything against JD Vance. I am a JD Vance fan all day long. I will be very, very pleased with a Vance presidency. Like everything considered, everything I just said, I would still be very happy with a Vance presidency. But yes, if it were 100% up to me, I would say Rubio all day long. And let me just give you guys reason number, 1001 of why. Take a look and a listen to this recent event. We'll talk about it after.
At a time such as this.
My hope for America?
And how do you personally deal with that?
Yeah, look, I mean, my hope for America is what it's always been. I think it's the hope I hope we all share. We want it to continue to be the place where anyone from anywhere can achieve anything, where you're not limited by the circumstances of your birth, by the color of your skin, by your ethnicity, but frankly, it's a place where you are able to overcome challenges and achieve your full potential. I think that should be the goal of every country in the world, frankly. But I think in the U.S., we're not perfect. Our history is not one of perfection, but it's still better than anybody else's history. And ours is a story of perpetual improvement. Each generation has left the next generation of Americans freer, more prosperous, safer, and that is our goal as well. But it is a unique and exceptional country. And as we come upon this 250-year anniversary, I think we have a lot to learn and be proud of in our history. It is one of perpetual and continuous improvement, where each generation has done its part to bring us closer to fulfilling the vision that the founders of this country had upon its founding.
Jesus.
Come on now. Come on now. What?
Amazing.
Amazing. That was. Did you see a prompter? Did you see him reading? No, that was all from that man's brain out his mouth. And what? That was spectacular.
So I think he is the best candidate. Now, what you're going to have inside of the GOP, and truthfully, I think it's President Trump at this point is going to have to make the decision.
Yeah,
he is going to have to. He can say, just do it open. Just do open, primaries. Just do open primaries and let anybody run. Let the system work the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
However, I think he needs to bring those two gentlemen into a room.
Yes.
Vance and Rubio. And I think he needs to sit them down and say, listen, this is how this needs to work. Now, you can't force them to do anything.
No, of course.
What needs to happen is the two of you need to run against each other in primaries. And then the winner asks the guy who comes in second to be his vice president, and he accepts no matter what. So it would be Rubio Vance or Vance Rubio. You know, JD Vance may be the first guy in history to be the vice president for 12 straight years, right?
Yeah, it's wild.
That guy.
Conceptually pretty wild.
Yeah.
But totally fine with us, I think.
But it could be Vance Rubio, you know, and then Rubio comes in 8 years after that. Neither of them are old men. Like they have plenty of time on the clock.
Absolutely.
And I really do think that if they both buy into that, it truthfully, not on the surface, not to appease President Trump, but if he put them in a room and told them, listen, first place, second place, and you guys say yes to it right now, I think that ends all discussion. I do think, though, Rubio wins hands down over any Democrat candidate there is, period. I don't, Gavin Newsom, it doesn't matter. I think Vance is a little bit closer of a race depending on who the Democrats put up as their primary candidate. But I think Rubio is hands down a winner.
I think Rubio would blow everyone out of the water. You cannot. I don't know anybody who could, from the Democrat side, that could rival him. That could speak as articulately, as knowledgeably. You know, I can't. I just, if they got it, put it up. I mean, that's fine. Put up what you got. Put up or shut up. But boy, oh boy, that man is spectacular. And I think, and I believe this fully, that Marco Rubio, if given the opportunity, could be the president that unified. And it is a bold statement here, considering where we're at in this world. But I'm going to make it. Marco Rubio is the president potential who could unify this country.
Agreed. I agree.
Because he is, it's not that he's neutral, it's that he's fair, and that his words are always measured. He's direct, like he's all the things. I already went down that list. I'll do it again and again and again. But yeah, that is how strongly I feel about Marco Rubio right now. Can that change at some point? Of course it could, you know, but right now and consistently from the very first time I heard him speak, that has been my feeling. So sticking to it.
I'm with you.
Hand to God. All right.
I think that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. All right. Let's we got to skip over a couple. Let's go. Can we do the fun one? Can we do the fun one? Okay. All right. Let's do the fun one. So Met Gala. I mean, listen, let's go right away with the, who cares?
Real people don't care.
We don't care. But I thought it would be fun, since I caught sight of all of these images and videos and stuff, to play a little game of who dat. Like literally. Let's see. Now I do know. I think I know who all of them are, except for like one or two. Let's see how many Clay knows who these people are. You ready? Let's start right here. Who dat?
Is that Taylor Swift?
Good job, Taylor Swift. You know, I'm not going to do the whole. This isn't. What E had
the red carpet crap. Listen, all of their outfits are purposely outlandish.
Yes, that's like the whole goal. That's the whole point, the whole purpose, to be outlandish, outrageous. The theme, I think, this year was something, I think it was like famous paintings, right? They were to like basically recreate famous paintings. So that was like the theme. Let's go with this one.
It's one of the Kardashians. Yeah,
I'm almost positive that is Kim. I feel very confident in that. Somebody correct me if we're wrong. But yeah, that's a Kardashian. This was one I did not know who it was. I don't know what painting that would be. I don't even know who half these paintings would be anyhow. So
my guess is that it looks like an athlete, but it may not be an athlete. I don't know who that is. I have no clue.
Yeah, I have no idea. I couldn't guess. Somebody put it in the comments because I forgot to look it up.
not a clue.
No, he's a basketball player, right? That guy?
Is that Steph Curry?
Yes, I believe it is. Yes.
Well, that's he's obviously wearing a wig of some sort because he wears very close cropped hair.
Yeah, I didn't know. I couldn't tell if that was like a hood or if that's like a wig he's wearing. I don't really know. This one, well, well, that would be. Do you know?
No.
That would be Cardi B.
Oh. Well.
Yes. I'm so shocked that you don't know who that is. I thought that was like your favorite. Jeez, Clay. What the heck? All right, let's
holding boots.
I don't understand what's happening. I don't know. I guess I could have been nice and hunted down the paintings that these corresponded to, but I did not.
I do know the next one because I saw somebody else made a joke about this. That's Katy Perry.
Yes.
And I only know this because somebody made a joke making fun of Justin Trudeau, like that she wears that mask so that his long girly fingernails don't poke her in the eye or something.
That is funny. Yeah. That's
the only reason I know who that is. I would never have a clue otherwise.
No, same. I don't think I would have been able to guess that one. Not based on that. Let's see. What's the next one we have here? Oh, this poor thing.
Is that Sam Smith?
It is. Good job. I did not.
That guy's been off the rails for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah. He makes me so sad. I mean, he's such a talented,
super talented singer.
And he's just off the rails. Yeah. This is what happens when you sell your soul for fame.
Yes.
Let's see. Who's that? Who's that girl?
That's Madonna. That's
Madonna. That is indeed good one. You were quick. And then let's see. And the last two that I have, one is my favorite, and the other is the funniest one to me. So here's my favorite. I actually have a favorite.
Oh, that's what's her name from the Wicked movie?
Yes, little Ariana Grande, who looks healthy and
yeah, she does. You're right.
Ethereal and beautiful, and I'm pleased to see that. And
deathly skinny for a while.
Yes, she was alarmingly frail. And it was a fright to see, but she looks just absolutely stunning. And again, it's not that I care about the celebrity. It's just a human being. It's another one who's outrageously talented, in my opinion. And then this one was the funniest to me. You ready for it?
Again, I only know this because it was brought up. Somebody else brought it up that's Sarah Paulson.
Yes, correct. Phenomenal actress.
Yeah, the hilarity of this is she's talking about the dollar, how all of it's some sort of metaphor for how money blinds people, blah 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 blah. And the evils of money. Do you know how much she's worth? $12 million.
Yes,
just
right.
Just
yeah. That was the part that same, and that was why to me that was the funniest one. This was a bold statement against I don't know, capitalism and the rich and the elite and all of that stuff. And here you were at the Met flippin' Gala, the most
it's like tens of thousands of dollars to go.
Yes, easily. And then that doesn't even include your designers, the cost for all of that stuff. And I'm sure they all write a nice big fat check for, to support the Met and all of those things. And
was this the event a couple of years ago where this Will Smith's dumb kid showed up with like a building on his head?
Yes, he had like a black house on his head. Yes, then and they all try to outdo each other with the most outlandish looking costumes and outfits, and most of the women cannot even walk up the stairs without assistance. Yeah, they can't sit, they can't eat, certainly, because their costumes or their dresses are like essentially painted on them. There was one clip, and I didn't even bother with it, but that I found a little like very cringy. Actually, I actually felt uncomfortable and embarrassed for her. But Blake Lively, there was a clip of her, and a lot of these women have these like massive trains, to their dresses that they need a lot of help arranging and getting up the stairs with him and everything. And there was this like awkwardly long clip of her essentially being stuck on the staircase with nobody helping her. So she's kind of like, apparently she's fallen out of grace in Hollywood with her ilk because of all of her drama and stuff. And, apparently she's got a pretty heavy mean girl personality. And of course her husband they've both fallen out of grace quite a bit with their lawsuit and all that kind of stuff going on with what's his name, Baldoni. I can't remember his first name.
That crap, I have no idea.
You don't know all of these things. I know way too much of this stuff. Like, I'm embarrassed at how much I know about it. But that's the extent of it. That's it. So yeah. And very last thing we're gonna say, we do not have a comment section clip, but we do have a little bit of a reprimand, if we may be so bold.
Elsa and I noticed that since we started doing the comment section, which was all meant to be in good fun and truthfully recognize some folks for saying some things, both good and bad, we've seen less comments during the actual show, right? So it's live not live, but it's released the same time on YouTube and on Facebook. Elsa and I pop in as often as we can on one or the other or both. But what we've been seeing is and so the number of those comments has actually been going down, which we don't want.
Right.
But the number of comments, when Elsa does a great job leading up to the show, she does these little like 30-second clips, and then we get tons of comments on the clips, right? On the highlight reels. But unfortunately, folks, some of those have gotten very, very hateful, very vulgar. I don't know how some of them pass like the Facebook community standards.
I don't even know.
Please, from Elsa and I, like, you can express your opinion, but keep it clean. Like, let's be grown-ups about this, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Just be respectful of other people. Like, again, we've told you a million times over, we have very thick skins. You don't hurt our feelings in the slightest. I don't care about that. I don't care. I don't care what you say about me or about us, about our personalities, our looks, because this is what people do on the internet when they're safe behind a keyboard. We're very used to that. But just, for the sake of your own dignity, first of all, for the sake of the other people in the comments section, just, make an attempt, make a little attempt at some class and dignity. I can't, just like Clay, I cannot be sitting in those comments sections and, and I would, believe me, and I'm so sorry I rarely apologize for anything, but I do apologize to the good people in the comments section who, just are giving a normal, healthy opinion for or against. I don't care what it's about, but doing it respectfully and with some intellect. To them, I'm very sorry that I don't get in there and delete those, especially, awful, inappropriate ones, insulting ones, because they go attack everybody in there. Anybody who says anything they disagree with, they're just on the attack. So I'm sorry that I don't often get in there to make those go away. I try, and Clay tries not to police what people say in content. So, how about don't make us go there? Don't make us have to do.
Listen,
come on.
I dropped in there. I don't even remember which clip it was, but you did one of the clips, and I scrolled through because it was one of those that had like hundreds of comments, and I was like, "What's going on in here?" And I just scrolled through. And listen, I saw like I said, these are things that I can't believe even got posted on Facebook. Like there was like the C word was dropped in there, which is not cool for anybody, right?
No.
Like there's some high vulgarity going on in there. Like, listen, folks, again, we don't care. You don't have to agree with us, but like, keep it clean.
Yeah.
Like, express your opinion. Use your words, people.
Use your words. Okay? Use big boy, big girl words.
Act like a grown up. If you have a contrarian point, make your point. But just jumping on there and throwing out expletives because you disagree with us is embarrassing, like Elsa said. So just keep it clean. Express your opinion all you want. And listen, it's the First Amendment. Say what you're going to say, but we're just asking. That's all we're doing. We're asking to keep it clean. That's all.
Yes, that's all. That's all. Do I think they're going to listen?
No.
Probably not. But listen, we let you know. So consequence will be what they will be. And,
parental advisory lyrics label on the front of your favorite album cover that nobody ever paid attention to.
Nobody. It was actually incentive to buy it, right? Good grief. Oh,
Tipper Gore. Gotta love it.
yes. My goodness. Wow. I remember. Wow. That just brought me back in time. That's so wild.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is that. We covered all the topics, but I think we missed like one or two, I think. But listen, it was a great show. It was a great conversation. I love talking all these things. We love seeing you guys in the comments section, despite the naughty ones. We love you anyway. And we look forward to chatting with you in this comment section. And we look forward to next week. Clay, you want to close them out?
Yeah, folks, like Elsa said, we appreciate it. Please don't be afraid to comment. We just ask you to do it a little bit nicer. That's all. But we'll have plenty more to talk about next week. And I will, like Elsa said, we will talk about Iran. And until then, from me, as always, keep moving, keep shooting.
Take care, guys.
The headlines will change by tomorrow, but the patterns won't. Thanks for spending this time with us. We'll be back to keep asking the harder questions and telling the quieter truths. Until then, stay grounded, be discerning, and we'll see you next time.